All right, let's jump right in. We're in mid-2025, and AI, it's not just some buzzword in the headlines anymore. It is actively reshaping our world, and it's happening incredibly fast. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to really try to understand the true scale of this revolution, the serious risks that come with it, and how we're even trying to write the rules for this whole new reality.
First things first, we just have to appreciate the sheer scale of this explosion that we are all living through right now. I mean, the numbers behind the 2025 AI boom, they're not just big, they are absolutely staggering. And they tell a really clear story about a technology that's moved out of the research lab and woven itself right into the fabric of our daily lives. So let's start with this number, $500 billion. That is the potential valuation for OpenAI in the middle of 2025. And look, that's not just a number on a spreadsheet. It's a symbol of just meteoric, unbelievable growth. It shows you the immense economic power that's now being concentrated in the hands of AI's biggest players. And if you want to know what that power looks like on a human scale, here it is, 700 million. That's how many people are actively using ChatGPT every single week. So you see, this isn't some niche tool for techies. It's a global platform. Its user base is right up there with the biggest social media networks on the planet. It's basically become a utility. And if we zoom out even further, the entire generative AI market, it's projected to hit $32 billion just this year. That tells you loud and clear that AI is not an experiment anymore. It's become mainstream infrastructure. It's a fundamental layer of our digital economy now. But it's not just about the size and the money. It's about a massive leap in what this stuff can actually do. Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, described their new GPT-5 model like this. And it really signals a whole new era. We've gone way beyond simple chatbots. We're now talking about systems with advanced reasoning, and that fundamentally changes what we thought AI was capable of.
Okay, but all of this incredible power, it definitely comes with a price. It feels like with every single breakthrough, we're peeling back a new layer and finding these complex and sometimes pretty dangerous, unforeseen consequences. This is where all the hype really starts to collide with reality.
One of the biggest problems with AI is bias. In this diagram here, it shows that it's not just one simple flaw, it's more like a chain reaction. It often starts with the data we feed it. That's what we call input bias. Then, the way the model is designed can actually make it worse. That's system bias. And all of that leads to this cascade of problems you see on the right, everything from just getting things wrong, to a total lack of accountability, to actual discrimination. And all of it, of course, just chips away at our trust in these systems.
And then, of course, there's the economic anxiety. And it is backed up by some really sobering numbers. The World Economic Forum is warning that 85 million jobs could be replaced by this year alone. But then Goldman Sachs goes even further, suggesting AI could automate the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs. The really crucial point here is that this isn't some problem for the distant future. It is happening right now.
So, faced with all these challenges, the race is on to find some real solutions. And we're not just talking about patching a few bugs here. This is a fundamental effort to rewrite AI's code, both in the technical sense and in a societal sense. The goal was to build something better from the ground up. And this kind of illustrates the two big paths forward. So on the left, you've got the immediate challenge, right? Fixing the bias systems we've already built. But on the right is a much more ambitious idea. What if we could build AI on a completely different foundation altogether? The hope is that by modeling the human brain, we could create systems that learn with more nuance, more context right from the start. And that could potentially help us avoid these deep-seated biases entirely.
And that's really the core idea behind what they're calling brain-inspired AI agents. It's about moving beyond the artificial neural networks we have today and instead trying to actually model how the different regions of our own brains work together. The big goal here is to create an AI that has more general, more robust, and maybe, just maybe, more ethical cognitive abilities, built in from the very beginning.
But rewriting the code isn't just about building a smarter AI. It's also about embedding our values into it. And that brings up another huge question. How do we get all the amazing benefits of AI without having to sacrifice our privacy? Well, there's a new approach called federated learning that offers a really fascinating potential answer. So how does this actually help build a more private AI? Well, instead of you sending all of your personal data to some giant central server, federated learning does the opposite. It sends the AI model down to your device. Then, in step 2, your device trains that model locally, using your data. Then, and this is the absolute key part, only the improvements, just the model updates, are sent back to the server. Your actual raw data never leaves your device. It's a pretty powerful way to build smarter AI together without creating these giant, vulnerable treasure troves of our personal information. Of course, technical fixes are only half the battle. As AI gets more and more powerful, society is, rightly demanding some rules. And this has kicked off a global race to figure out how to govern this technology before it starts governing us. So right now, there are two major philosophies really taking shape. On one hand, you've got the European Union, which is pushing ahead with its big, comprehensive AI Act. It's a very strict, risk-based approach that actually bans certain uses of AI. In contrast, the United States is taking more of a lighter touch route, really favoring industry guidelines and voluntary standards instead of one single sweeping law. And believe me, the outcome of this debate is going to define AI development all over the world. So, where is all of this heading? The choices we're making right now, in the technology we build, in the ethics we debate, and in the regulations we write, they're basically drawing the map for the next decade. The future isn't set in stone, not at all, but the trajectory, it's definitely becoming clearer.
And the projected pace of change is just breathtaking. By next year, AI copilots could be a standard part of most professional jobs. Think about that. By 2030, a huge 30% of all work hours might be automated. And then, by 2035, that once far-off sci-fi dream of artificial general intelligence, AGI, well, it becomes a plausible reality that we seriously need to prepare for.
We are truly at a pivotal moment. There is absolutely no doubt that AI is going to be the pen that writes the story of the 21st century. But the most important question of all is still unanswered. It's not really about the technology itself. It's about who gets to hold that pen. Who gets to decide the values, the biases, and the rules that are going to be coded into the intelligence that shapes all of our futures? That is the question we all have to answer together.